Welcome back to the deep dive. I love finding those hidden gems from history, right?
Yeah.
And today we've got a good one for you.
Hmm?
We're going deep on the life of Abu Ahmad ibn Jahsh,
Oh,
an early companion of the Prophet Muhammad.
interesting.
You might not have heard his name before, but trust me,
Yeah.
his story is full of twists and turns that'll shed light on a whole era of early Islam.
I like it.
And the cool part is we're getting all of this from just one YouTube lecture.
Oh, wow.
It's really amazing how much insight you can get from one piece of content like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes it's those really focused pieces of material that can give you some of the best information.
Hopefully.
What makes Abu Ahmad's story so fascinating is that it really intertwines with all these major events in early Islam.
Okay.
He's known as the other blind companion.
Hmm.
And, exploring his life really helps us understand, I think,
Yeah.
the unique challenges and triumphs of early Muslims with disabilities.
I'm really interested to hear about that. So first, let's just set the stage here.
Okay?
Abu Hamad wasn't just some random guy.
Right.
His family was right in the thick of things.
Yeah.
His brother, Abdullah ibn Jahsh, was a well-known military commander,
Mhm.
and his sister, Zainab bint Jahsh,
Oh, yeah.
would later marry the Prophet Muhammad.
Wow.
Talk about an influential family.
That's a powerful family.
Really powerful.
But it gets even more interesting.
Okay.
This family had really close ties to the tribe of Abu Sufyan, a really powerful figure
Mm-hmm.
who initially opposed Islam.
Right.
And there were even marriages connecting the two families.
Oh, wow.
It's really, just mind-boggling. Think about the dynamics at play there,
Yeah.
especially when you consider what happens later.
It makes you wonder, how close were these families really?
Right.
If there were these intermarriages, and then
Yeah.
you have this huge religious...
Exactly. And political divide, too.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Okay, so now let's talk about the Hijra. That first migration of Muslims to Abyssinia to escape persecution in Mecca,
Right.
you might think that the Prophet led the way, but it was actually Abu Ahmad
Oh, wow.
who took that leap of faith first,
Interesting.
along with his family.
And remember, his wife at the time was Abu Sufyan's daughter.
Oh, wow.
So here he is fleeing persecution.
Yeah.
And his wife is the daughter of the man leading the charge against Islam.
That is incredible.
Talk about a rock and a hard place.
Really?
This really underscores, I think, the intense personal struggles
Yeah.
that are playing out amidst all these historical events.
It's almost like this whole family drama makes you realize that history is more than just
Dates and battles.
dates and battles. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's about these real people wrestling with these complex situations.
absolutely.
So Abu Ahmad, he wasn't born blind,
Right.
but he lost his sight early in life.
I see.
What struck me was his incredible independence. There are accounts of him navigating the hills and valleys of Mecca without any assistance.
That's pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
His ability to move through the city
Yeah.
with such confidence, knowing every nook and cranny, I think it challenges our assumptions about
Correct.
how
Yeah.
people with disabilities lived
Yeah.
in that time and place.
Back then.
In fact, there's this poem where Abu Ahmad describes Mecca as filled with family and visitors,
Uh-huh.
and he talks about walking through it without a guide.
That's a powerful image.
Yeah,
It shows how he refused to let his blindness limit him.
absolutely.
And it also reminds me that accessibility wasn't really a concept back then.
Right.
So he must have developed these incredible mental maps and resilience
Oh, yeah.
to be able to get around.
That brings up a question I think about.
Yeah.
How early Muslims view disability.
Mm-hmm.
While we don't have all the answers,
Right.
I think Abu Ahmad's life suggests a degree of acceptance
Okay.
and perhaps even admiration for his ability to adapt.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Because now you have me thinking about, how people with disabilities back then were treated in other societies.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a great point of comparison.
Yeah.
So?
So Abu Ahmad and his family migrate to escape persecution, right?
Right.
Well, while they were gone, their homes in Mecca were seized.
And this wasn't just random looting.
Uh-huh.
Powerful Meccans like Abu Jahl were involved.
Oh, wow.
But the most heartbreaking part,
Yeah.
the person who took and sold Abu Ahmad's house was none other than Abu Sufyan,
Oh,
his own father-in-law.
talk about betrayal.
Yeah,
This wasn't just a political conflict. This was deeply personal.
absolutely.
It makes you wonder what Abu Ahmad must felt,
Yeah.
knowing the man who should have protected him was profiting from his hardship.
Right. And the prophet, learning about this injustice, offered comfort to the Jahsh family,
Okay.
promising them homes in paradise in exchange for their earthly losses.
But I can't help but wonder, did that really alleviate the pain
Right.
of the betrayal and the feeling of being uprooted from their home?
Yeah.
It's a great question.
It highlights how, even in the face of religious consolation,
Yeah?
there are certain wounds that just run deep, especially when family's involved.
Absolutely. Family makes things so much more complicated, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Family and religion, I guess, can be a volatile mix.
For sure, for sure.
It's a really tough situation to think about.
Yeah,
So Abu Hamad and his family, they find refuge in Medina,
right.
and he's excused from fighting due to his blindness,
Mm-hmm.
which, at first glance might seem straightforward,
Yeah,
but it actually brings up a really important concept in Islam.
which is jihad.
Oh, yeah, that's right, jihad. It's often misunderstood as solely meaning physical battle,
Right.
but it has this much broader meaning
Uh-huh.
of striving or struggling in the path of God.
Okay.
In Abu Hamad's case, his jihad
Yeah,
might have been navigating daily life with blindness,
I see.
contributing to the community in other ways.
Maybe even just maintaining his faith
Right.
amidst such hardship.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating how this connects to a similar situation with another companion, Abdullah ibn Maktoum.
Oh, yeah?
He was also blind and excused from fighting.
I remember that.
And this actually led to some verses in the Quran being revealed
Wow.
about the roles and responsibilities of people with disabilities.
It's interesting how these personal experiences can lead to these
Yeah.
broader kind of theological development.
Really shaped the faith.
Exactly.
So what do these verses say?
Well, they're not just about exemptions from fighting.
Okay.
They actually acknowledge the unique challenges faced by people with disabilities,
Okay.
but at the same time emphasize their equal standing in the Muslim community
I see.
and their potential for reward.
That's powerful.
Imagine the impact of these words in a society where disability was often seen as a weakness.
Totally.
It's really a powerful message of inclusion that I think still resonates even today.
For sure. And it really makes you realize that Abu Wad's personal experiences
Right?
actually contributed to a broader understanding of faith and disability
Absolutely.
within Islam.
It's a fascinating example of how these individual stories can
Yeah.
have these ripple effects throughout history.
So now let's fast forward a bit.
Okay.
Abu Ahmad actually outlived all of his siblings,
Oh, wow.
which suggests that he might have needed some support from the community in his later years.
It speaks to the strength of that early Muslim community,
Yeah.
that they cared for their vulnerable members.
That they took care of each other.
Absolutely.
But it also highlights these enduring bonds
Right.
within Abu Ahmad's family.
I mean, he remained this central figure
Yeah.
even after his siblings passed away.
And, remember that he even acted as the wali
Yes.
or guardian
Right.
for his sister Zainab's marriage to the Prophet.
Which is
A very significant honor.
a huge honor
Really shows the immense trust and respect that he held. Yeah.
within the community.
Absolutely, especially considering, his close relationship with the Prophet.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, now for a truly dramatic turn of events.
Okay.
Years pass. The Prophet leads the Muslims to conquer Mecca.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd think old wounds would be healed.
You would think so.
Abu Sufyan has repented and embraced Islam.
Right.
But remember that stolen house.
Oh,
It's about to become a major flashpoint.
here we go.
So picture this. The victorious Muslims are entering Mecca,
Okay.
this moment of immense change and symbolic power.
Right.
And in the middle of all of this,
Yeah.
Abu Ahmad,
Uh-huh.
standing right by the Kaaba,
Wow.
calls out Abu Sufyan,
He does.
invoking their tribal ties and demanding justice for the theft of his home.
Wow, I bet everyone froze.
I know, right?
Like, what?
Here's Abu Ahmad bringing up this incredibly personal grievance
Yeah.
at what's supposed to be this triumphant moment
Right.
for the entire Muslim community.
At this, really symbolic moment in history. Yeah. Did he plan this, or was it pure emotion bubbling over?
It's hard to know, for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
But I think the impact is undeniable.
Right.
It exposes these raw emotions
Yeah.
that are still simmering beneath the surface,
Uh-huh.
even as Islam is spreading and triumphing
Yeah.
It reminds us that forgiveness,
Especially when it involves family.
especially when it involves family,
And such a deep betrayal
right?
can be incredibly difficult.
Yeah, and a long journey,
So what happens next?
right?
How does the prophet handle this? This bombshell in such a public setting, it's a tough spot, right?
Oh, boy.
Everyone's watching.
Yeah.
The past is like colliding with the present. Emotions must be running high.
Yeah, how does the prophet, known for his wisdom and diplomacy,
Right.
how does he navigate this?
Yeah.
This very public and personal conflict?
It's a great question.
So instead of, reprimanding Abu Ahmad or dismissing his feelings, the prophet takes this much more compassionate approach. He kind of reminds Abu Ahmad that while, the material loss was significant, his true compensation lies with God.
I see.
He's emphasizing that by embracing Islam,
Right.
Abu Ahmad has gained something far more valuable
Yeah.
than a house.
That's a powerful message about
Yeah.
finding solace in faith
Right.
and focusing on the bigger picture.
It's not about just, telling him to get over it,
Right.
but it's about offering a different perspective,
Yeah.
a spiritual lens through which to view his loss.
And it also acknowledges that his pain is real.
Exactly.
It's not diminishing that.
Right. It's recognizing that even in moments of triumph,
Yeah.
Personal wounds can linger.
For sure.
And sometimes healing comes not from retribution or dwelling on the past,
Right.
but from finding a higher purpose,
Okay.
a greater good that transcends that individual suffering.
That makes a lot of sense.
And this moment, I think, really humanizes the prophet too.
In what way?
Well, he doesn't just lay down the law or impose his authority.
Okay.
He acts as a guide,
Uh-huh.
a counselor,
Yeah.
helping Abu Ahmad find peace within himself.
I like that.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because this story resonates, I think, beyond the historical context.
Totally.
It speaks to, I think, like this universal struggle
Yeah.
of dealing with injustice
Right.
and finding ways to move forward
Absolutely.
without being consumed by anger or resentment.
It's hard, though.
It is hard.
But it suggests that forgiveness, while challenging,
Yeah.
can ultimately be a path to inner peace.
So we've seen Abu Ahmad as a pioneer,
Right.
a survivor, a man deeply affected by family ties and betrayals.
Absolutely.
But his story doesn't end there.
Okay.
He goes on to live a long life,
He does.
even outliving his sister Zainab,
Wow.
who, remember, was married to the prophet.
Right.
And when she passes away,
Yeah.
there's this incredibly touching detail.
What's
He
this?
insists on carrying her body to the grave himself.
Wow. Imagine that scene. This man who navigated life without sight, now carrying the weight of his sister's body.
Yeah.
This final act of love and devotion.
Really powerful.
It speaks volumes, I think, about the depth of their bond.
Mm-hmm.
A bond that transcended, all the trials and tribulations
Or hardship.
that they faced together.
It's a beautiful end
Yeah,
to a life marked by both hardship and resilience.
I agree.
And there's this quote from Abu Ahmad about Zainab
Oh, yeah.
that I found really moving.
What did he say?
He said that through her, their family received immense blessings.
Okay.
Her marriage to the prophet brought them honor and spiritual upliftment.
Those words, I think, reveal so much about Abu Ahmad's character.
Right.
Even after everything he went through,
Yeah.
he could still see the good,
The blessing.
the blessings that came from his sister's life.
And her connection to the prophet.
Exactly.
It's really a testament to his faith,
Yeah.
his ability to find meaning in gratitude.
Even amidst loss.
Wow, what a journey. From fleeing persecution to facing those personal betrayals,
Right.
navigating life with blindness, witnessing the rise of Islam.
Abu Ahmad's story really packs a punch.
It does. And it's even more amazing.
Right.
We got all of this from just one YouTube lecture.
It just shows you how much we can learn.
Yeah.
If we're willing to dive deep,
Right.
even into seemingly obscure corners of history.
Totally.
Abu Ahmad's story might not be
Yeah.
as well known as some,
Right.
but it's no less significant.
It really makes you think.
It challenges us to rethink our assumptions about disability,
Mm-hmm.
faith, and the human capacity for resilience and forgiveness.
And it encourages us to look beyond the surface.
Absolutely.
Seek out those hidden gems
The hidden gems.
that illuminate the richness and diversity of the past.
And that's what the deep dive is all about.
So as you go about your day, we encourage you to think about Abu Ahmad's story.
What resonates most with you?
Yeah.
What questions does it raise about navigating personal challenges?
Finding meaning in difficult times.
Or even just the power of individual stories
Yeah.
to reshape our understanding of the world.
Because every life however seemingly ordinary,
Right.
is a thread in this grand tapestry of history.
And by exploring these individual threads,
Yeah,
we gain, I think, a deeper, more nuanced appreciation
sure.
for the human experience.
Across time and cultures.
Absolutely.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning
And keep diving deep.
into the fascinating world of knowledge.